Welcome, my darklings. I thought I'd share some Gothic activity ideas one can enjoy. You may be a baby bat, just finding your feet in the subculture and feeling out what activities appeal to you most. Or you may be an elder goth and time and circumstances have changed, your friend groups may have evolved, and you're just looking for new activities to fill any newfound time, say with retirement. I have a list of 40 activities that I have done my best to categorise neatly. Without further ado, let's get into the list. For places, I would recommend visiting historical sites, perhaps castles, cathedrals, steeped in Gothic architecture, especially in Northern Europe and Britain. You may partake in stately homes, places of heritage, or sites of historic significance, such as Stonehenge. Art galleries and museums are steeped in rich culture, and you can really gain some inspiration, or just find yourself a peaceful haven to sit back and reflect on the artifacts and creations you may encounter. As long as you're respectful of the dead, cemetery walks, picnics and photo shoots are also perfectly acceptable. Gigs is the obvious one. Concerts of any kind involving music to do with the subgenre is more than encouraged. You don't have to spend hundreds of pounds on a concert. You can go to a small local gig, or you can support your local and independent artists. Cinemas. We're having a very healthy year for horror. Just a sneaky plug, I am doing film reviews on my Patreon now. You may aspire for a more Lestatican lifestyle. Perhaps the opera or theatre may be just up your street. An obvious show I can recommend is Phantom of the Opera, the absolute king of kings when it comes to plays on Gothic horror and mystery. Ballet can also intrigue those who have a palate for more highbrow entertainment. For those seeking more joy and exuberance, a circus may be just what you're after. Go to a festival, whether that be the Wave Gothic Treffin Festival or the Whitby Goth Weekend. Now, on to shopping. Globally, we have enough apparel to clothe the next 7 generations. So to go thrift shopping and then customise or DIY any finds that you spot is the perfect Gothic opportunity to express oneself through unique fashion. Of course, you also have flea markets, night markets and antique shops. You can always find something rare, obscure and usually controversial, especially in the antique shops. For animal lovers, you may want to give an alternative pet a loving home. Cat is usually a safe option, but what about a spider or a snake? These creatures are just as valid as cats and need loving homes too. Perhaps you're renting and your landlord won't allow pets. Boo! You can always adopt one of these less than popular animals, or a bat. Sadly, you can't actually get a bat as a pet, but many species are fiercely protected and always needing people to adopt and support their charities. Speaking of charity, how about making a donation to the Sophie Lancaster's Foundation? I'll leave their link in the description so you can find out more. With the internet, we're more connected than ever, perhaps more than we want to be. How about arranging a goth meetup or looking into a group that arranges them? If there isn't one near you, take the initiative and organise one yourself. How about learning a language? A dead one is always better. How about Latin? Quite a lot of Memento Mori has Latin and it would be so cool to understand the inscriptions. It might seem obvious, but read a book. Support your local library. They do have horror sections, or you can always ask at the desk about Gothic literature. If you're self-isolating for any reason, the Gutenberg Press Project is an online archive of literature, and there are many ebooks in PDF form for you to read in the comfort and safety of your own home. I will put the link in the description. You may find a bat walk fascinating or a ghost walk to chill your bones. When you start checking notice boards in supermarkets and places of heritage, you'll find a surprising amount of lectures and talks and demonstrations that you can attend. They're often very affordable, about £6 or £7 to attend, and usually set in the evenings to accommodate for most people's working hours. DIY. You can have a DIY party or just fumble along and make the mistakes in the privacy of your own home. After all that excitement in the charity shops, you'll probably want to spruce up your clobber and gothicise it with patches, pins, paint. Do whatever you want. Why not express your gothic anguish through the form of poetry? You could even enter them into a few competitions. Many competitions offer cash prizes too. Maybe writing isn't so much your thing, but making words look pretty is. Try calligraphy. Gothic calligraphy is one of the most iconic things you can create. It's unmistakable, and there's all kinds of styles and embellishments you can learn about along the way. Photography is always a great way of self-expressing. It helps you open your eyes to your surroundings. Looking through a camera lens helps you see the world in a whole new perspective. You might be more classically inclined. How about trying out painting? There's plenty of mediums to choose from. Oil, acrylic, watercolours. Perhaps making art is a bit intimidating, but you can always learn about art. There are plenty of societies to join, whether that be art, history, and even wildlife. They offer plenty of seminars and talks, and you're funding a good cause, whether that's preserving nature or culture. Have a play with makeup. That's an art form in itself. For the true recluses or vampires out there, you can always learn about obscure subjects for yourself. In fact, when you get those weird questions really late at night when you're trying to sleep, keep a notepad and pen by your bed and jot down weird questions. In this day and age, it's always a fun challenge to try and go analogue. I keep my phone switched off 90% of the time, and honestly, I'm not addicted to it anymore. I don't like doom scrolling. Over time, if you make analogue your lifestyle, your home and possessions will naturally start looking more gothic. Rather than having rectangular screens everywhere, you'll have an interesting and eclectic mix of wood and brass and cool things. Start with that record deck. I know it's been in the back of your mind. Reading books rather than Kindle. Using refurbed actual dial telephone rather than your mobile. The possibilities are endless. Now, on to my least favourite school subject. Sports, but not the typical ones, of course. How about learning some fencing or archery, knife throwing, axe throwing, maybe some fire breathing? There's all sorts of ancient and violent sports to get your blood flowing. Well, I hope that list inspired you. Let me know any activities that you've thought up that I haven't mentioned. I'd love to hear your suggestions. Perhaps you've already tried some of my ideas. Do share your experience in the comments. Subscribe for more videos. I'll be sharing many more tips and ideas for those gothically inclined, and I'll see you next time. Take care, my darklings. Bye bye.